Okay, so first off, look how cute this button is. So excited. I cannot wait because there are 2 months until check-in. This is insane. Hey y'all, so today I'm going to be going over a few different tips for your initial application, your web-based interview, and your phone interview, just to help you throughout your whole process applying for the Disney College program. So let's get started. So I have 5 tips for your application, 5 more for your web-based interview, and 5 more for your phone interview. And I have them on my phone so I can read them and make sure I don't miss anything. So with that, I'm going to start with the initial application. And my first tip is to check every role that you have interest in. You can put as many roles as you like. There's 21, and you can put interest in all 21, or you can put interest in only 1. It really just depends on you and what you want to do, but the more variety you show in your roles and your interest in your roles, the more likely of a chance you have to potentially get the web-based interview, and then a phone interview, and then a potential acceptance. So tip number 2 is do not put interest in a role that you do not want to do. So when I was applying for the Spring Advantage 2018 season, I put no interest automatically in custodial and housekeeping just because I knew I would not be happy performing those 2 roles, so I put no interest in them. I ended up checking, I think, 16 out of the 21 roles, so I showed enough variety, but I put no interest in some things that I just wouldn't want to do, such as custodial, housekeeping, monorail, watercraft. I don't know what else I put no interest in, but stuff like that I just wouldn't be happy doing, so I didn't put interest in them. But don't put interest in things just because you think that would give you more of a variety, but don't put interest in things you wouldn't be happy doing. Tip number 3 is research your roles before you put interest in them, while you're putting interest in them, while you're ranking them, just so you know what is expected of you while performing that job, and to make sure you are medically cleared to do that job. If you have a medical need, there are medical accommodation forms which will come later down the road, but I suggest if you can't perform it medically or physically, do not put interest in that role. So make sure you're researching the roles so you know if you're able to perform it or not. Tip number 4, list jobs and volunteer experiences that you think will make you stand out. So when I was applying, I put that I worked for a wedding planner just because that's not a very common thing for someone at my age, which I'm 19, to be working for a wedding planner. I just thought it would help me stand out, as well as being an Azalea Bell for volunteer work, which is an ambassador for the city where I live, and it's a public speaking volunteer opportunity, and so I thought that would help me stand out as well. Last but not least, take your time. You have plenty of time when applications open to the time they close to apply. There's usually a month and a half to 2 months. Around that time, might be a little shorter, but you have plenty of time to perfect your application. So next are tips for your web-based interview, which I'm going to be going over. And my first tip is to make sure you have enough time to take your WBI, because it takes around 30 to 45 minutes and you don't want to have to rush through it and not do your best. So make sure you have enough time and you aren't rushing. Tip number 2, make sure you're in a room or a quiet place or an area that you won't be distracted easily, just because you really need to focus on the questions just to make sure you're reading them correctly and that you know exactly how you're answering them. Tip number 3, be consistent with your answers. Just because I had a question asked twice, but it was worded differently. So if you aren't being consistent with your answers, Disney will know, just because they will word it totally differently, and I actually had to reread it a few times just to make sure I knew that, hey, they asked this question 10 questions ago on my WBI, and so I knew that I needed to answer the exact same. Tip number 4, be honest and be yourself, because Disney's trying to get to know you as the person that they will be hiring, and so if you're honest and you're true to yourself, they will get to know the real you and it won't be a problem. Tip number 5, try to use mainly strongly agree and strongly disagree as your answer choices, just because, I don't know, that's what I was told in the past and it worked for me, so I thought I would pass that on to you. You can also use agree, disagree, neither on your WBI. I used it a few times, but I mainly use strongly agree and strongly disagree, which worked to my advantage. So that's just something I've heard from many alumni. So I've just, last but not least, is 5 more tips for your phone interview. And with that, my first tip is to prepare. I prepared by going on YouTube and watching tons of vlogs like these on tips, and I watched PIs, which I will link mine down below, and I just kind of looked for potential questions online that I could be asked, and I went over them. But make sure you aren't like over preparing yourself, which can happen very easily, but as long as you're somewhat prepared and you know what to expect, it won't be a problem. Tip number 2, like I said on your web-based interview, be honest, be truthful, be yourself, because like I said, Disney's wanting to get to know you as the person they're hiring, and so just be honest and be yourself. Tip number 3, smile. Of course, smile. You can hear it in your voice when you smile over the phone, and if you watch my vlog of my PI, you will see that I had a small mirror on my desk, and I actually would look in my mirror, and if I wasn't smiling, bam, a smile would be like on my face, just because it really makes a difference if you're talking and they can hear your smile in your voice. Tip number 4, don't be afraid to ask questions. They are there to help you. They want to see you succeed. They're trying to help you succeed. And so I know at the end of your phone interview, you get asked if you have any questions for your interviewer, which I had a set of 5 questions ready, and I only asked, I think 1 or 2, don't really remember. But just ask questions, be involved. I asked how you get involved in the volunteers program on the DCP, and I've heard a lot of people ask their interviewer like how they got their start with Disney, or how can you do like certain things while on the program. There's so many different potential questions you can ask your interviewer, which if you look them up, there's tons and tons and tons of them on the internet, so there shouldn't be a problem with you asking a question. Last but not least, through all of this, have fun, just because they want you to have fun. They're going to try to make it as fun for you, and they're going to make you comfortable while you're on your phone interview with them. And so if you're having fun, it'll go by very, very fast. My phone interview ended up being about 17, 18 minutes, and it felt like it was 3, just because I was having so much fun talking to my interviewer, and she just made it like an interesting time for me. When she asked me a question, it was, oh goodness, what was it? She asked me if I could teleport to any park and, like right now, teleport to any park right now, and if I could go to one ride specifically, what would it be and why? And I chose the Jungle Cruise just because it's my favorite ride, and I just think the jokes are so corny that I love them. And so that just kind of shook my nerves off a little bit and helped me out. So if you're having fun, it'll blow by and it'll go smoothly. And with that, that is all my tips for your initial application, your phone interview, and your web-based interview. And I hope these help you. Don't forget to click that red subscribe button right down below and like and comment on this video to see my crazy adventures as a cast member starting this January. And if you have any tips that are different from mine that helped you through any of those 3 things, or you have questions about anything, comment them down below. With that being said, I hope this helps you out through your application journey with the Disney College program, and be on the lookout for my next vlog. Bye! I guess this sounds like another sad